Hello, and welcome to episode 33 of the Country Bumpkin Creates podcast. My name is Lucy. You can find me on Instagram as country_bumps, and you can find me on Ravelry as Country Bumps. I am coming to you from a slightly overcast. Where do I live? It's going to be a good one, isn't it? If I can't remember where I live. I'm coming to you. I live in a little village called Peter Tavy, which is 2 miles outside the market town of Tavistock in Devon, deepest, darkest Devon. We're almost Cornwall, but not. You know how like Lancashire and Yorkshire have that thing? Cornwall and Devon have that too. The Cornish are a bit weird. Sorry, Cornish people. Sorry, I need to wet my whistle. Yeah, we've had some glorious weather for the last, well, I say glorious. To those people who like the sun, it's glorious. To us people who absolutely hate the sun, it ain't so glorious. Haven't got a great deal of knitting this time. Lots. This is going to be very sewing and quilting heavy, this episode. So if you're not into that, then fine, fair enough. I'll do the knitting bit first. Yeah, I'll do knitting first. So we've got one FO, 3 whippers, and dream knitting, and a lot of acquisitions because we went to Amsterdam and I went to the Holy Grail. I don't think sorry, I'm just looking back at last time's. Yeah, we hadn't been to Amsterdam last time I podcast. Hell, that means I haven't podcast for a long time. We went to Amsterdam in April for my birthday. And we visited the Mecca that is Stephen and Penelope. So Stephen West's shop that he is a partner in. And if that's heaven, I want to go. Oh my god, it was so amazing. Sorry, I've got like a real weird thing. I've just washed my hair. It needs cutting. Desperately needs cutting. Tangents, Lucy, tangents. So yeah, we went to Amsterdam. Absolutely amazing time. We had 3 nights in Amsterdam. Amazing city. If you've never been before, then you need to go. We went on the Eurostar, which was really cool. So we went from a Monday to Thursday. We went up to London on the Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, stayed overnight in London. Because our train from London was at 6 a.m, which meant we had to get up at 4:30. It was like, oh my god. But it was really cool because we got into Amsterdam by lunchtime. Went to our hotel. We stayed a little bit or quite a bit out of town, but it was literally like 20 minutes on the metro. Public transport in Amsterdam is top notch. So it was like 20 minutes on the metro. We bought a 4-day travel card, which put you on the metro, the buses, and the trams. Amazing. So we got there at lunchtime. We had a spot lunch, and then we went to Mecca. We were in there probably an hour, I reckon. Nigel was losing the will to live a bit by the end of it, but I just sat him on a stool and kept piling yarn on him. It was funny because if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen the photos. But one of the photos, I turned around, and when you go into the shop, you go down like 4 or 5 stairs. So there's like a little mezzanine, like foyer bit at the top. And I turned around at one point, and there must have been 4 husbands or partners stood at the top of the stairs, all on their phones, like waiting for their partners to to be done. Um, yeah, I had quite a bit. I was very lucky and was given some money before I left from Famalam to um had some birthday money to spend, and I worked quite a bit before we went because I knew I would want to spend, and I did. Um, yeah, so we went to there, and then, like I said, we must have been an hour and a bit, probably. By the time we found it, we sort of went a roundabout way to find it, and actually, if we'd stayed on the metro, would have been right there. But um, it's just such a cool place. And then, so that was the Monday. We had, then we stayed. What did we? No, we were absolute. We stayed in a hotel that was like, it was more like an apartment, so it had cooking facilities. I had a fully equipped kitchen and all that sort of stuff. A little like lounge diner, and then a bedroom and a bathroom. Um, so we were absolutely, by this point it was like 6 o'clock, and we'd been on the go since like 4:30 that morning. So we decided that night we would just get some. I just had a sudden realization that I wasn't recording them, but I was. Brain. So yeah, we just picked up some. There was a spa shop opposite the hotel, so we just picked up some bits and pieces in there, and had dinner in our room that night because we were knackered, and I think we were in bed by like 9 o'clock. The next morning, and it was really good because it meant we could have breakfast in our room, so we weren't spending loads of money on food. So we had breakfast. We left the hotel probably about 10, and we did, in the morning before we left, I booked for us to go to Anne Frank house, because we went to Amsterdam not long after we got together, so it's got to be 14-15 years ago that we went. No, it's before we were married, so probably 18 years since we last went. And we didn't do Anne Frank house the first time we went, and it was just something that I felt I needed to do. I didn't realise it would. I've never read the book. I obviously know the story. Never read her book or anything like that. Knew of what had happened and all that sort of stuff. Didn't realise it would affect me as much as it did. I think the fact that it was so close towards the end of the war that they were found, and her and her sister went to one camp, the parents went to another. The father survived, by the grace of God he survived, but Anne and her sister died within a few days of each other in like the February or March, and then so it was so close towards the end in the like 1945, so it was so close towards the end of the war, and they actually died of typhoid in the camp. They weren't gassed. But it was just, I don't know. I had a few tears on the way around, and I didn't think I would. But then I cry at the opening of an envelope, so I'm not surprised I cried. But the museum is, you actually go into the house and you see where they were hunkered down for all those years, and how well they were hidden, and how the other people that worked for her dad like kept them hidden and kept bringing, they brought the provisions and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know if they ever, I can't remember if they ever knew who dobbed them in, but obviously somebody dobbed them in. And it was just such a shame, such a shame. And I don't think it ever hit me the scale of the amount of Jewish people that were killed. So yeah, that really. So after we left there, I was a bit of a Debbie Downer when we left there. So we went and had some nice lunch. Had a beer or two, I think. Just wandered around. Yeah, we wandered around. We went to the Lego store, which was amazing. I'm really into Lego as well as everything else. So we spent probably a good hour in the Lego store just mooching around and playing with the Lego and all that sort of thing. So because we booked when we came out of before we went to Anne Frank, or was it after? It was after we went to Anne Frank. We booked to go on a canal cruise around, but that we couldn't get that until it's like 1 o'clock at this point. We couldn't get that until 4:30. So we went and had a walk around, and we went up to like the main, like royal, where the royal palace is, and all that. And we didn't go in the royal palace, but there's a big square, dam square. We had chips and mayonnaise because that's what you do when you're in Amsterdam. Yeah, that's what we had for lunch, chips. Then we did our canal cruise. Then we headed back to our hotel because across the road from our hotel, there's this really cool restaurant. It's just one guy on his own and one chef, and you saw all the food being prepped. But they did really cool things like poke bowls and like burritos and burgers and all that. It was like a really cool hip. I had a really nice cocktail in there or two. I had a poke bowl, and it was like one of the best things I've ever had. It was a salmon. Was it salmon I had? Yeah, oh, it was amazing. Nigel had a burger, I think. And then on the Wednesday, we booked to go to the Kuchenhof Gardens. And you book it. We were advised to book before we went, so we did. You go to this. You get off at one of the metro stations, and there's a bus that literally all they do all day is hike you backwards and forwards to the Kuchenhof. So we went there, and this place is only open for 6 weeks of the year, so it's April through to mid-May. It's open, and it's like a showcase for all the bulb growers. So it was tulips, lupins. No, not lupins. Oh, God, I think alliums, tulips, daffodils, anything that's grown from a bulb, basically hyacinths. But they've also got glass houses there, so they've got an orchid house, and then in one of the others, it was like a tulip showcase, and the colours, the varieties, the size. So you had tulips that were tiny, tulips that were like big, blousy, frilly edged, beautiful, from like white through to this deepest like purpley, like aubergine purple. They've got a windmill there that you can go up. And we also booked there, they take you on what's called the Whisper boat. It's like a little electric boat that probably fitted about 25 people on it, and they take you out and you go along the dikes through the bulb fields. Most of the bulbs had gone by the time we got there, or most of the flowers there were still quite a few, but you see on those postcards with like strips of like the different colour bulbs and stuff like that. That was all there, so we did see a few bits of that. And again, on my Instagram, there's loads and loads and loads of pictures of the kicking off. So that was an all-dayer again. So we got back into Amsterdam, had a bit of dinner. Because we'd gone to my birthday, when the hotel realised it was my birthday, they gave us a card for some complimentary drinks. So we stayed in the hotel that evening and had those. And then we went back to the room and I knit a bit. You know when you go away and you think you're going to knit shitloads? Nah, didn't happen. I knit quite a bit while we were travelling, to and from, like on the metro and all that sort of stuff. That really freaks the muggles out, doesn't it, when you get on the tube? And yeah. Unfortunately, Mr. West wasn't in when I went to the shop, which was quite upsetting. Not on, really, is it? Then on the Thursday we came home again on the Eurostar. We got back into the UK about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Went over to Paddington, had some dinner there, and got the train from Paddington at 7, and we were home again here by 10:30. Nigel's brother picked us up from the train station. That was a harrowing journey home. It drives like a madman. Yeah. So that was our trip to Amsterdam. And then when we came back, I wasn't feeling quite right. I didn't think anything of it. Just thought, tired from lots of work, lots of travelling. So did a few weeks of just like basic hours at work and the odd bit of overtime here and there, but not killing myself like I was before. I want to say killing myself, like 20 hours a week. 20, 25 hours, something like that a week I was doing. Didn't feel right. So went to the GP to speak to her about going on to HRT. Because I'm getting quite a few like menopause symptoms. This is a bit rambly, sorry. We're 17 minutes in and we've still not done any knitting or anything like that yet. Anyway, I'm just doing like catching up on you. You can always fast forward this bit if you want. Yeah. Long story short, she was absolutely pants, but she wanted to do some blood tests before. Just basically kept banging on about how I was overweight, and I was like, yeah, I know I'm overweight, but that's not what I'm here for. Blood pressure was high because I'm overweight, so can't go on HRT because your blood pressure's high, which is again rubbish. Also wanted to come off my antidepressants. The ones that I was on had a sleeping tablet effect as well to them, but I was finding that some mornings I was sleeping till like 10:30 and then taking like most of the day to wake up. Just not feeling right, and I didn't feel that I needed to be on them anymore. Mental health wise, I feel absolutely fine. Still have the odd day but then everybody does. But I just felt that I was wasting so much of my life because, I'm not getting up till 10 o'clock. I'm then not getting dressed till 1 o'clock. And by then the day's over and it's like 5 o'clock tea time, then you're back in your pajamas again. Didn't get any answer on that either from the first GP that I saw, but she did book me in for blood tests. When the test results came back, they found that I was anemic, so I had to go back for repeat blood tests, which then showed I was really anemic. So I had a follow-up with a different GP who was actually like a breath of fresh air. Oh my god, what a difference. What an actual difference. So discussed HRT with her, but they wanted to get my anemia in check first, make sure there was nothing else going on. Couldn't work out why I was anemic. So then referred me to the hospital anemia group, like clinic. Put me on iron. Did discuss with her about coming off my antidepressants, got the answers that I wanted, weaned myself off them, and been absolutely fine, apart from the fact that I'm now waking up at like 6:30 every morning. And if anybody knows me, I don't really do mornings. but it's made such a difference. And I just feel like more like the old me now. Um, the iron's obviously helped. I've finished my course of iron. And again, I feel like I've got much more energy than I've had for a long time. So there's obviously something. There was obviously something going on. Couldn't work out why I was anemic, so I was referred to the hospital, which resulted in an endoscopy and a colonoscopy, just to make sure there's no bleeds going on anywhere. Because my veins are so pants, they couldn't get a cannula in me, so I had to undergo all of that without sedation. I had the appointment a couple of weeks ago. Christ, it feels like a lifetime ago. It was our wedding anniversary. So middle of June I had that. So it was the day after our wedding anniversary. And if you've ever had a colonoscopy, you'll know that the prep is horrific. I didn't realise. Well, I won't go into detail, but it was horrific. And that was our wedding anniversary. So unfortunately we couldn't go out. And normally we go out for dinner on our wedding anniversary, but we couldn't this year because I needed to be this close to the toilet. So I actually had my procedures done on a Saturday because there was doctor strikes coming up, so they wanted to get people in quickly. So I had that done on a Saturday, but couldn't have any sedation because my veins were so pants. So all I had for the endoscopy was a throat spray that numbs your throat. Well, it really doesn't. So that was a bit horrific. Colonoscopy wasn't too bad. I had gas and air. Those ladies who've had babies and have had gas and air, whoa, what a ride that is. That was good fun. But the good thing about having no sedation was there was no recovery. So I was able to walk out on my own. I didn't have to wait for Nigel to come and get me and all that sort of stuff. So I walked out on my own. Hadn't eaten for so I couldn't eat after 8 o'clock on the Friday morning. So I got up early that morning and had breakfast. But it for 3 or 4 days before, you've got to eat like a low fibre diet. Oh, talk about pants. All I ate was like cooked chicken and rice, and it was like, oh, it was hideous. No vegetables, no fruit, no nothing. And you don't get a body like mine from eating fruit and veg, obviously. But I was actually craved by Saturday lunchtime, which was the first time I could eat. I was bloody starving. But there's a M&S food right outside the hospital, so I went in there and I got a big thing of like strawberries and grapes and like berries all mixed in, and troughed most of that before Nigel came and picked me up, because I was just like craving like something that had some taste to it, and oddly craving a banana, but they didn't have any bananas. So anyway, we're now nearly half an hour in. Anyway, that hasn't showed up anything worrying. They took some like histology because I was retching so much. I knocked off a polyp, or dislodged a polyp, so that they've sent that off for histology, and they take some like bacterial samples and things like that. Again, sent off. Haven't heard anything back, so I assume everything's okay. Quite fascinating to watch though, because I was watching I didn't watch the endoscopy, but the colonoscopy I was watching because they've got TV. They're fascinating what goes on inside you. Yeah, so that's been life in general, really. Last couple of weeks, what I've been doing, working. Not a lot really. Work, knitting. Done a bit of knitting, most of which I ended up frogging, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Yeah, dressmaking. We've done a bit of sewing, so we'll show you what's going on in a minute with that. but we'll get on to some, should we get on to some knitting, because we're now 25 minutes in and we've not showed one bit of yarn or knitting or anything yet. Did I say welcome back to any returning viewers and hello to any new viewers? Probably did, but can't remember. If not, thank you and welcome back. Oh, we also had a flock. When did we have flock? April? March? April? May? May. Yeah, May. It was after we'd been to Amsterdam, so it must have been May. So that was really nice to catch up with everybody and see everybody, and it was just after the coronation because Claire and John had been down with her mum and dad to stay on the park, and they went back on the Thursday and we had flock on the Saturday. That's right. So it was around like the 13th of May, somewhere around there. So that was really nice to catch up with all my ladies. Unfortunately, Bex wasn't there because the baby was playing up and she had problems with her blood pressure, so I'd been taken into hospital, so we couldn't see Bex, which was a bit of a shame. But after I've shown you the FO, I'll insert the video of the baby clothes that I made, or the baby stuff that I made for Bex, which I videoed before I sent it. So I will appear here in a second, like Scooby-Doo, doobie-doo-doo, doobie-doo-doo. No, not Scooby-Doo. Wayne's World, where they do doobie-doo-doo, and you end up, I'll be wearing something different, and hair will be that sort of, you know. So I'll insert that here after I've shown you this FO. There we go. That's what I wanted. The yarn that I'd knit this FO in. This is a sample that I've knit for Claire and John in their yarn. So Claire and John are Bird Street yarn. This is the Pink Velvet by Andrea Mowry. It's a fingering weight sweater with this colour work, and the colour work is done with 2 strands of Surrey alpaca. It's beautiful. I might have to knit one for myself. So this is the 3rd size. The neck seems really big on it. So this is size 3, which I think was a 40-inch. Oh, I'm just taking the tags out of the bag. So it is Bird Street yarn, and the main colour is Bohemian in their merino nylon 75/25 base, and the Surrey alpaca is Tamarisk Cloud. So again, that's a 74% baby Surrey alpaca and 26% mulberry silk, and it is like a cloud. So again, it's a cropped sweater. I have woven in the ends, but I don't. It's literally just come off the blocking mats. I don't cut the ends until I've blocked it. Fingering weight cropped sweater, like I say, Surrey alpaca held double for the colour work. Claire sent me 2 skeins of each. This is what I have left of the 2 skeins of the main colour, and I think I only used like half a skein of one of the Surrey alpacas. So once I'd split for the sleeves, I then did helical knitting on the body. I didn't do it on the sleeve because I'd nearly run out of one of them anyway, and they were all dyed in the same dye lot, so they weren't hugely different. So that I will clip the ends of that and get that posted off to Claire in the next few days. Right, doobity-doo, doobity-doo, doobity-doo. Hello, back again, but not the same as we were before. I've just finished work. It's been a bit peoply, is all I'll say. People were extra peoply today. Anyway, I just wanted to show the baby knits that I'd made before I gift them tomorrow. Couldn't show you before because they weren't gifted. So this is a baby vertebrae. So there's a newborn vertebrae, which is a free pattern, and this is the newborn, called the baby vertebrae, which is bigger sizes. It is a paid for pattern. It's exactly the same design, so it's a large, like, open fronted cardigan, which is good. And the yarn I used, I'm just going to switch I put the big light on. I might switch it off a minute. I might show colour better. Oh no, I'm dropping everything on the floor. Yes. Oh, sorry, avalanche. Earthquake even. So this is the Quidditch colourway by Nora George Yarns. So it's a bit more minty. It's not as bright as it's showing on screen. So it's like a minty green with lots of speckles. So that's, like I said, a baby vertebrae, not the newborn vertebrae. And this was the 6-month size. Then the next thing was, they're called Hosen mats, or Hosen mats, I suppose. And they're these really cool trousers that's got like this gusset in them to obviously go over baby's nappy. So this is a free pattern, and they were such a lovely knit, actually. So you've got this like really long ribbed I want to say cuff, but it's not that's not the right word, is it? I've been at work all day, can't you? Waistband is the word I'm looking for. So you've got a ribbed waistband, and then, like I say, plenty of bum room. And the legs aren't as long as I would have liked, but I played yarn chicken and literally like had about that much left by the time I bound off. So I did block the legs out quite a bit. This yarn is Be Happy by Lay Family Yarn, so it's BBE as in the insect, and it's on the 80/20 high twist. It's such a lovely yarn to work with. I really like a 80/20. They're not as yellow as they're showing up on camera. The lighting's really weird in this room. Just as an aside, our house, before Nigel moved into it, before I met him, his granddad and Auntie Jean lived in this house, and this room was Auntie Jean's, and it's always cold in this room, and we're convinced that it's haunted by Auntie Jean. So there you go. And then the final thing that I knit is this. I haven't put any buttons on it yet. This is the seaside set by Petite Knit. So it comes with a trouser pattern as well, but I've just knit the jumper, and I'll put the buttons on tonight before I haven't woven in any ends or anything. And this was knit in Rico Baby Merino. I'm sure it was Rico Baby Merino, yeah. In like a navy blue and white and navy blue. Looks like the colours run on there, but I think it's just where the stripes aren't lined up at the moment. on the back coming through. I don't know. Anyway, again, really nice raglan with a opening flap to get baby's head through. And again, that was the trousers were they only come in newborn or 4 to 7 months. So that's what I did with the trousers. I did bigger size. And this one I think I did 6 to 9 months in this sweater. And the final thing that I did make is I got this lovely quilt panel, which has got all these different squares. So it's all a panel. All this was a panel, and all I've done to quilt it is I've just literally gone down all the lines. So all this down here, and I've gone around every square to quilt it. So it's not like heavily quilted. It's just and I know Claire's made a quilt as well, but this one, you know, you could use for tummy time or something like that rather than on its cot if it's. And then on the back is this matching fabric, or coordinating fabric, should I say. And then the binding is fragile. Is if you're a Harry Potter fan, is just a grey and white stripy fabric. Binding takes forever on a quilt. By the time you make the binding, so you've got to cut each strip and then sew it all together and then iron it and sew it all on, and then binding took longer than the quilting. Oh, sorry, mother earthquake. So that's a lovely little quilt. And finally, when we went to Unravel, there was somebody selling the sheep hurdy stuff, and I saw these little socks with a little sheep on them, and I was like, I need to get some of those for my little friend. So yeah, off to Flock tomorrow. I'm sure you'll have heard all about it at the beginning of this podcast. So off to Flock tomorrow, where all of this will be gifted. So it's so exciting. I can't wait. Can't wait to be with my tribe. That's it. Can't say no more than that, really. So that was the baby knitting portion, which will be gifted. By the time this goes up, will be gifted. Bye. Insert baby. And we're back. Hello there. Hello there. That's from one of my favourite movies, which is Hot Fuzz, which I swear to God was filmed down here. My next whip, which is practically knitting itself, is the Shima tea. Sorry, this is a watermark because one of my furry little friends came in with wet feet and stood on it. It's the Shima tea by Noriko Ichikawa. It's a simple, this is a view of the back and the side, short sleeved, raglan detailed, stripy goodness t-shirt. If you watch the Grocery Girls, you will have seen this before, because I'm entirely blaming Jodie, because she had a sample knit up using Frankie Gray fibres. Her and her daughter are the dyers behind Frankie Gray fibres in Canada. And Jodie, the pattern, the original you can see is in 2 colours. Jodie dyed up this, I can't remember how many colours it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me just grab the tag. Sorry for the crinkling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10. So it's a DK weight, So there's the tag, Frankie Gray Fibres. It was DK 75/25, so you get 112 meters per 50 grams. So it was 10 50-gram skeins. And then I had some undyed DK that I bought on a D-stash ready for me to dye up, but never got round to it. So here was where we are so far. So last night I split for sleeves and I've started the body. I'm literally one stripe into the body, and then I got tired, so because I worked yesterday. So this is the back, so you can see the colours. So this is Kate's Green, Key Lime, Peacock, Aquamarine and Soft Aqua. The next two colours are, so this is the next colour. It's blowing out a lot. That is Stiletto and that is Lollipop. So they're the next two to be done. And stripes, they do literally knit themselves, don't they? They are amazing. So this is their business card, which is really cool. It says, thank you so much for your order. We hope you have fun creating something amazing with your new yarn. Jodie, Jordan and Frankie. And Frankie is the cat. And then the last three colours are Blush, Pop Rocks, this is blowing out a lot, and Mayflower. This is like a real magenta-y purple. So yeah, that's where we are so far. And when did I start this jumper? Sunday? I think I started it on Sunday. And I worked most of Monday. And I worked all yesterday afternoon. So, like I say, this is like literally, I haven't swatched. Who needs to swatch? It's an oversized t-shirt anyway, so I am knitting I'm sure I'm knitting the size 6. Size 6, which will give me a finished measurement of 56 3/4 inches on the bust. They say 7.5 inches of ease at the bust and 4 inches of ease at the upper arm. Yeah, I've learnt a left leaning increase where you pick up from the stitch below to do the increases on the raglan. And where did I change colours? Here, you can see there, I've been trying to do jogless stripes, and I think once it's blocked you won't really see where the jogs are, because that is on the front. So yeah, so it's really clever construction. You don't actually start in the round, you start flat, and do some short rows, and then I'll come back and pick up the neck later. So, and then obviously because it's short sleeved, not much sleeve, I think it's like 2 rounds of stripes, hem sleeves, so 9 rows of sleeve. I can get on board with that. Yeah, so that's where we are. So hopefully next time I podcast, like I say, it's practically knitting itself, so hopefully I have every intent, I know I say it every time I podcast, but I have every intention of podcasting more frequently. I know I'm feeling a bit more myself. Perhaps I'll do it because obviously I've got to be in the right frame of mind. I don't want to give you guys a bad show. I'm just looking because I just shoved everything in this project bag just now. But I think that's everything that's in there that I wanted to show you. The next project is, let's pop one down there a minute, that I've given a little bit of love to but not a great deal, is the Yeti's cowl. Oh, I didn't print out a picture, or did I? No. If I remember, I'll insert a picture. It's called the Yeti's Cowl by, I'm not sure who it's by. I think it's a Lagos on, who are Vincent and Max. Yeah, Boutique Legoson. You can see a bit of what it looks like there. So it is it's a colourwork cowl, and it has a 2-colour brim. No, brim's on a hat. Oh, words, Lucy, words. Top border, they call it. So and that gets folded over, and that's where I am now. I'm just about to pick up along the cast on edge to fold it over. I've got, it's a drawstring. Where are my holes? Yeah, so it's got 2 holes here for a drawstring. So it's got a ribbed 2-colour rib, which I've never done 2-colour rib before. Really enjoying. This again is in Bird Street yarn. For the main colour I'm using Bare Naked, which is 70% baby grey alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere, and it is like butter. It is so soft. Oh, it smells so good. So that's the main colour that I'm using. The pink for the ribbing is something I had left over from a Stephen Westshaw extravaganza, possibly. Painting bricks, I don't know. Anyway, I bought a kit from Stephen and Penelope one year for the mystery knit along, and that's what this is. So it is the Urban Pearl yarn in the pink pussycat colourway. It's showing like coral there, but it's not. It's actually pink. Well, the lighting's not brilliant. I've got like main light coming in there. So that's what I did in the ribbing, and then earthquake. For the colourwork, I'm going to use these. Last year, Bird Street Yarn did a Pop Pickers or Top of the Pops club. That doesn't say on there what the club was. I'm sure it was Pop Pickers or Top of the Pops. Anyway, this was one of the 80s things, and this is Club Tropicana, and it's perfect. Club Tropicana colours. Club Tropicana, dreams are free. Love Wham. I haven't watched the new documentary on Netflix yet. Really looking forward to that. Love a bit of George. So those will be the colourwork sections. So that needs to have a bit of love done to it, doesn't it? I'm being fairly monogamous at the moment. Claire's jumper seemed to take me forever because it was over that whole period of not feeling very well, going through all the hospital stuff, and I was like knitting like an hour a day, if that. Some days I didn't even knit. So there was a lot going on, and my brain just, yeah. So that seemed to take quite a while for me to do. So that's that. That's the Yeti's cowl. So it's stripes of like chevrons going in different directions. In each stripe is a different colour, basically. The only other thing that I've been actively working on is a Musselburgh hat. So Musselburgh is by Isolde. I've got a friend who at the moment she's got MS and is undergoing this pioneering treatment where she has to have chemo, like really intense chemo. They give her something to harvest, to like produce more stem cells. They harvest her stem cells. I think they clean them in some way. I don't know the technical aspects of this. Then she has like really intense chemo, which kills off obviously her own stem cells. And then they put her stem cells back in, her clean washed, you know. And it's supposed to give like a 99% what's the word I'm looking for? It's supposed to like really help like slow the MS down, and it like life improvement, 99% like life improvement. She's not in a wheelchair or anything like that, but her mobility has declined a bit. So they were actually our wardens for the last 2 years, but because Lisa's I shouldn't have said her name, because she's undergoing this treatment, they couldn't come back this year, which was a real shame. But hopefully they'll be back. So, and obviously the chemo's causing her to lose her hair. So I thought this would be a nice gift. I'm almost there, I think. On this has been on my needles for ever and a day, because it's just one of those things that it's one of those projects that I'll probably always have one on the needles, because it's perfect for like when I went from a hospital appointment, I was sat waiting and knitting it, and like doctor's appointments, like sat in the waiting room. It's just once you get past the initial increase, it's just round and round. So for those of you who don't know what the Musselburgh hat is, so you start with a circular cast on, you increase out to a certain amount, and there's no sort of like this is the needle size you use. You pick a needle size that you're happy with, that gives you a fabric that you like, and then once you've knit so much, you take a note of your gauge, and that then tells you how many stitches to increase to and all that sort of jazz. It's a really clever pattern. And then you knit, so you basically knit like a long tube, decrease on the other end, and then this bit ends up going into that bit. So basically you knit like a double thickness hat. So I thought this would be nice for her as a gift. I hope she's not watching. I don't think she does watch. If you are watching, surprise. She has seen me knitting this because like I say, it's been on the needles. We get together quite a bit for barbecues and drinkies and stuff, so I do, and I always knit whenever I'm with them. This is what I have left of the yarn. This yarn is All Wool That Ends Wool. I got this at Yarningham last year. The colourway is Spring, and it is a 75/25 merino nylon. a fingering weight. Yeah, like I said, I got that at Yarningham last year. It's been on the needles forever and a day. I knit my Musselburgh on a... God, my eyes are getting really bad. Joys are getting old, eh? These are higher sharps, and they are a 3.25mm. I was doing that old person thing then when I was looking. Yeah, 3.25mm. Hello. One of the cats decided to join me because I've got the door open. Right, bud. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, there. You can say hello. Oh, big boy. This is Billy. Say hello. Say hello. Oh, big purry boy. He's just woken up. He's been on our bed asleep. Oh, he's all warm and purry and soft and squidgy. He's my boy. There you go. There you go. Ow. There you go. Good boy. Oh, he's so heavy. So yeah, that's Whippers. So my aim is to get that hat finished fairly soon so I can gift it to her. Dream knitting. When we talked last time, my dream knitting was my Hello from My Colours crop, which I started. I got to sleeve separation and thought, this looks a bit small. I was 60 stitches out. How? I don't know. I had the right number up here. Did loads of colour work. I was gutted. Absolutely gutted. Got in a strop with it. No way I could sort it. I'd gone wrong from the very first colour work motif. You have to do increases within that motif, and for some reason I'd obviously increased wrong. So yeah, I was 60 stitches out. And when you're doing like 20 stitches over 4 inches, that's a lot to be out. So I was out a good, I must have been out a good 10 inches. And there ain't no blocking that's going to sort that out. So that was frogged. Most disappointed in that. So then picked up a Sew Summer tee that I had on the needles. Realised that when that's the Sew Summer tee's got a double, like a folded hem on it, or the option that I chose to do was a folded hem. That was all twisted. I'd obviously picked up on the scrunt, so that was all twisted. And again, it wouldn't have blocked flat, so I frogged that. The only thing on my dream knitting that I talked about last time that I've actually started and is actually doing anything is the Yeti's cowl. Most disappointing. Nigel, I was going to knit Nigel a Dustland sweater, but I've just got into the Needles at the Ready podcast. I don't know where I've been. I haven't come across them before. I heard about them on the Grocery Girls. So Needles at the Ready is two husbands. They're married. Two guys who are married, Kevin and Ray, and they're hilarious. They do something called Needles at the Ready After Dark, where they it's a live, but because of the time difference doesn't work for me. They get a tasting box of like treats from around the world. It's hilarious, and they have some adult beverages, as they call them, and get slightly tipsy on the way around, and it's so funny. But they're knitting, the normal knitting podcast they do every 2 weeks, which I take my hat off to them. Their knitting is so inspiring. Even, they obviously knit for themselves. They're both male, so, but Kevin has just finished a test knit of the Bumpy cardigan, which has just come out today. I'll put a picture of it here. If I remember, by Maxime Cyr, who is one half of Les Gossons, Max the Knitter. And it is a open fronted cardigan, so it's got a button band but no buttons and no buttonholes. And it's got an I-cord stripe in it every so often. Oh my god, I can't show you because my phone, I'm using my phone to record, and I meant to bring the iPad in and I forgot. I just thought that would really suit Nigel. So I was going to knit him the Dustland sweater out of some Blacker Yarns Falkland DK. Luckily this cardigan is DK, but they use Spin Cycle for the stripes, so every stripe is different colour, but ain't nobody got, as much as I love him, I'm not using my yarn budget of, like, because it's like 35 quid a skein over here, and I need 2 skeins for his size of Spin Cycle, which we'll come on to in a second because I did get a bargain. So what we talked at the colour, I didn't bring the yarn in, but the colour I got him at Blacker is like a teal, like a bluey greeny teal. It's a beautiful colour. It's on my last podcast. So we discussed it at lunchtime because the pattern has just come out at lunchtime, and there's a coupon code which is valid through to the 10th. So you've got 4 days. If you've got a man in your life that you want to knit for, or if you are a man that you want to knit for yourself. Thought. So yeah, so what he thought he would like is, because I did say to him, I would get you Spin Cycle if you want it, and he was like, no, I don't want to spend that money. So that's fine. Gave him the option. So he decided that he would like a light grey stripe. It's just a really well fitting, it's an open cardigan, like I said. And he does wear a lot of like hoodies and stuff, which he wears open. So I think he would wear it more than he would wear the Dustland. But I've also been looking through a lot of Max and Vincent's patterns, and there are 2 or 3 now that I want to knit for him. I want to knit him the Montrealer hoodie, and I want to knit him the, I think it's called the So Basic, or the Basic sweater, which is literally like a basic raglan sweater, but it's got like a pearl detail lines down the sleeves. Again, Ray and Kevin. Ray's knit one, Kevin's knitting one at the moment. And it just looked like it fitted really well. And I think that's the difference. When I was looking, when I said to him, oh, I want to knit you a sweater, we spent ages looking at patterns, and there aren't many that are specifically tailored to men. Many of them are unisex. When you go through and you put in Ravelry, you know, gender, male, want a jumper, or there aren't many that come up that are specifically for men. But I think that's why we settled on the Dustland, because it's a male designer, and you know, men are built differently. They haven't got boobies for a start. You know, they are shaped differently. But when I saw this card, I was just like, it was just beautiful. So I think that's what we're going to do. So the I-cord, because it's Spin Cycle, so it would be sport weight. So I need to find some sport weight that's grey, but I think Drops do a sport. It's either Drops or Rico do like a baby yarn, and that's classed as a sport weight. So that'll be a bit cheaper too. Not that I begrudge him anything, you know. If I had sport weight that was hand dyed, then not, but I don't. So, and I don't really know anybody who does hand dyed sport weight. In the UK, anyway. Oh, I've just seen a skein of zebra there. I wonder if zebra yarn would be nice. Could probably make it work with gauge, because you hold it double. I believe. You hold 2 strands of the sport weight double. Again, can't look at the pattern because it's on my phone. That might be nice. A zebra yarn. Leave it with me anyway. So yeah, because zebra's a bit thicker than 4-ply. Or it feels a bit thicker than 4-ply. I've got a scale of it here. Hang on. Bear with. Because it's got that extra ply of the zebra in it. This is Bird Street, of course. I hope you're not. If you, I know this is if you're happy and you know it. Which was after they'd done their great niece for the day, Maggie. So it is. These bits are a bit thicker. So I wonder if a zebra would look nice. But I'd have to pick a zebra that. Maybe like an undyed zebra would work. Oh, it smells so good. I am a yarn sniffer. I do like sniffing yarn. But the sniffing glue. God. Yes, so that's what I would like to knit in. So that's Dream Knitting. The other Dream Knitting is the new Caitlin Hunter pattern that's just come out, called Alpine Blooms, which it's very similar to the Miserina, with a colourwork yoke t-shirt, but it hasn't got the Miserina's got the cable in between, so it hasn't got that. It's got a little bit of lace detail, I think, the Alpine Bloom, and for the colourwork you use this spin cycle. I just happened to be perusing Facebook the other day, and there's a group on Facebook called Yarn Snobs, which is for like destashing hand-dyed yarn. And I saw these two, spin cycle. Oh, which one is it? It's not dyed in the wool. It's dyed in the wool, the worsted. There's no tags with them, unfortunately. Whatever the Dream State's the worsted. This is dyed in the wool. So this is the sport weight one. And this is what the Alpine Bloom, not this colour, but the Alpine Bloom uses spin cycle in the yoke, and then a tonal. So my thinking is, this is like pinks, yellows, it goes through to like a grey, dark pink. I don't know if you can see it better in that one. So my thought was to use these two and then get like a minty green. So I don't know whether mint green would work with it, but what's that there? I might do. But a tonal mint green, not a speckled. This is a speckled mint green. So with that, it's blowing out. This is more turquoisey than mint anyway. So I need to find like a nice tonal, like pale. I'm wondering if Bird Street have got anything minty tonal. I'm sure they have. Oh, they've got a sale going on. If you check out their Instagram. Oh goodness, is it this week? If you check John's Instagram, he is, there's their details, John and Claire. So he is Mr. B _ Bird Street Yarn, and Claire is Claire with no I, CLARE _ Bird Street Yarn. So check out their Instagram and it will give you the dates of when the sale is, and I've got a feeling it's 20% off. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is. Anyway, I'm on a yarn buying ban. I've got, so as you can see in the wall of gluttony behind me. It was funny because one of the ladies that I go WI with and quilt group, she watched my last episode and said to me, "Did you film that in a yarn shop?" I was like, "No, that is my wall of gluttony in my craft room." So I've got enough yarn to last me 3 lifetimes, probably more. And I want to use it. So that's my plan. We're going to the Southern Wool Show at Newbury Racecourse in the first weekend of September. September. We've booked our train tickets. We will be there on the Saturday. We're going up early Saturday morning, and we will leave when the show finishes. So nice going on the train. So the 3 of us, me, Soph, and Rach, are going on the train. Hopefully Imogen will be able to meet us there, because she lives in Bristol. So hopefully Imogen will be able to come. So yeah, the 3 of us are going on the train. It's so much nicer than one of us having to drive. Means we can chill, knit, have some snacks. Yeah, and then so we go from Exeter straight to Newbury, change at Newbury or change at Reading, go to Newbury Racecourse, which has got its own station, which is really useful. Yeah. So that's my plan for the. Oh yeah, I was talking about this. So on the yarn snobs, I got both of those skeins of Spin Cycle for 25 quid, and it was too much of a bargain to pass up. Although I'm not supposed to be buying any yarn, I was like, I can't pass that up. And it's like I don't know what the colourway is. I've looked on Spin Cycle's website, and I think it's ranunculus, but it's so difficult because no 2 skeins are the same with them. We are now at 1 hour and 5 minutes. I didn't think I had that much to talk about knitting wise. Maybe I need to do 2 episodes. Maybe I need to do a knitting one and then a sewing one separately, which I will film straight after this one. I think that's what I'll do, because I've still got to show you my stash that I bought in Amsterdam. So one of the things I did buy in Amsterdam was the Neons and Neutrals book by Amy Gill of L'Abbe Animé. So she owns L'Abbe Animé. So it's a knitwear collection. It's curated by Amy. It's got lots of different designers. There are, I can't remember how many patterns are in here. It's by Liner Publishing. The only thing that annoys me about Liner is that you don't have a Ravelry download code. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 patterns in here, and I paid €41 for that. So if you divide that by 16, you're getting a bargain. And it was my birthday money. So there are 3 patterns that I really, really like. This one, I don't know if it's me, but I really like it. So it's a basic sweater with these like ruffles. They look like they're done in mohair or suri, and then they carry on with this like pearl detail down there. That's the Darter by Inese Sang, Inese Sang. So there's another picture of it. And what I like is they've got them on models with bigger bodies. So it's a basic sweater with this beautiful ruffle down the front. The next one that I really like it's called Confluence by Caitlin Turowski. And again, it's just a very simple, basic sweater with some stripe detail on the collar and the cuffs. It is fingering weight, held with, I don't know whether it's held with mohair or it looks like it. Circular yoke. So it's a mild top-down sweater featuring a folded collar, balloon sleeves and a circular yoke. The The sweater and the sleeves are knit, holding a finger weight and fluffy lace weight. So you could use Suri to create beautiful marred fabric. The collar, cuffs and hems are worked holding the yarns independently. The 3 stripes on the cuff represent the confluence of rivers at Pittsburgh's Point, which is where the lady who designed it is from. So again, really basic, simple, but beautiful. There we are on a bigger lady. I say bigger, but she's still beautiful. Of course, I really like that colour too. I'm not really a yellow fan, but the one that I really liked is reminds me of very much of a penguono. So it's called the Vidira. I don't know how to pronounce that. By Miser Tomikawa. So it's a hooded modular jacket cardigan with pockets. So it's worked continuously from the back, body, hood and front for the last pickup stitches from the body to create fun shaped sleeves. So she's done a bit of intarsia with it. So there's a different, that's the front. This here is a different, this is a scarf that's in the pattern in the book too. So it's very Japanese. So there's the pockets is, everybody needs a pockets is. Big sleeves, but you could probably reduce them down if you wanted to. I don't think there's another picture of it anywhere, no. But I just really, that's what made me buy the book, was that pattern, that cardigan jacket. But like I say, it reminds me of the penguono, but with a hood, that sort of, you know, oversized. Right now we are moving on to, in my very posh spar bag, what we bought in Amsterdam. So I got a skein of Ching fibre. Some of these are are exclusive for Stephen and Penelope only. I don't think this is, but I fell in love with this. This is 100% superwash, ultra fine South African merino. It's so soft, and the colourway is plum. It's their dashing sassy base, but look at that. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's beautiful. Then I got Essence of Autumn. I've never heard of Essence of Autumn, but the ball band is so cute. This is their pasture sock, which is 80% BFL, 20% nylon, and the colour is Garden Party. And it was so cool to see John and Claire's yarn. I took a picture and sent it off to Claire and John, because they're stocked at Stephen and Penelope. This I know was the exclusive one for Stephen and Penelope. So this is Undercover Otter on their square base, which is 80% merino, 20% nylon, and it's in the hard candy colourway. And again, look at that. That would make a cool muscle bra as well as some cool socks or something like that, or to go in a shawl. Who knows? Then I knew I wanted to buy a sweater's quantity of something while we were there, and I've got lots of sweaters quantities of fingering weight. I've never bought myself any La Bien Aimée before, and they stocked their curry worsted. So this is La Bien Aimée, curry worsted. This is the colourway Goldenrod. It's blowing out. It's not as golden as it's showing on the camera. So this is 75% Falkland Corridor and 25% wool, 230 meters for 100 grams. So I got that one. Oh, this is beautiful. That would be lovely in my oh god. Oh, now I need some La Bien Aimée and fingering weight, don't I? Oh goodness. this. That's going to break the bank. So again, this is Corrie. This is colour Sea Glass. Oh, Sea Glass would be great. I'm sure Claire and John have got something similar. And this one is Belle Rose. So those three are going to go in a colourwork sweater. I think I'm going to do the Mountain Mist by Tin Can Knits, but I haven't decided yet. I don't know. I might do a Caitlin Hunter. I might do the Easy V. I don't know yet. But I don't know what weight that is. I think it's worsted. And then I couldn't stretch to a whole sweater's quantity of La Bien-Aimée. So we got some Malabrigo Rios in the Cirrus Grey. So it's like a bluey grey. I got 6 of those, I think. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So I've got 6 of those to go with. I was there ages picking up colours that would go with it. Picked up a light grey, didn't like that. Picked up a darker, like charcoal. They didn't have enough of. So there we go. That was what I bought in Stephen and Penelope. And the book was from Stephen and Penelope. Is that all I bought from Stephen and Penelope? Oh no, what was that? Oh, I bought some. I do apologise if I did show it. I don't think we'd been on the last podcast, so. Oh my god, this room is a mess. I bought some labels that say the back, because sometimes it is hard to tell. There, it says there, because sometimes it's hard to tell. So yeah, so I thought they were quite cute, and they were only €5. I bought some needle gauges for that was shaped in like little Dutch houses for my ladies. There's a little gift. So I don't think I did too bad in there. Luckily, the husband went off when I was at the checkout, so he didn't know how much I spent. Because it was lots of pennies. Then when we went to Flock, I had done another test knit, or another sample knit that I showed you last time as well for, I was halfway through it, wasn't I, for Claire and John at Bird Street. So when we went to Flock, I chose my payment, which was 4 skeins of yarn, which was very, very generous of them. And John had put this fade up on his Instagram like the day before we went. So I was like, oh, I really love that. So we went and we got the fade as our payment for knitting the sweater. There we go. Right. So here is the gorgeousness. Of the fade. Blow it out a little. This is more tealy than it's showing. This is Melba. This is all on there. 75.25. Round the goldfish bowl. Oh, it's beautiful. This is Do You Think You Saw Us? And then this one is Peacock Suit. And again, it's really blowing out. I really need to sort the lighting out in here. I might get one of them ring light things and shut the curtains, and then we might be in business. So that was what I got as my payment, and then I did purchase. They had a sale bin, and I can't resist me a sale. So I got that's the Tamarisk Cloud that I knit the uh that's in Claire's sweater, but it's got like a little bit of, it hasn't dark, there's got a dark bit on it, so that was in the sale bin, so I grabbed that bargain. And then this one is Chiffon Cloud, which is like a very pale minty colour, so maybe chiffon. That might be a good colour to go with that. And then these two, I'm not quite sure. This feels like that. This got this might be like the silk cashmere. Oh, it feels so good. And then this one was in there. You know what I'm like for pink. Can't resist a pink skein. Pixie Yarns was there also vending. So I got my club yarn that I'd purchased. So this was the May. I'll take it out of the packet. So this is the, she's doing a club every month. So I got it. I haven't done it. I only did 3 months, I think. Yeah. This is Surrey Alpaca and this is Sock. So that was those two. And then from her stall, I saw this one, which again is blowing out, which is really annoying, called Tarocco, like Morocco, but Tarocco. And this one is Chestnut. So I thought they went quite well together. This is more brown than orange. God, this room is a disaster. And then my mate Rach, for my birthday, when we went to Flock, gave this to me for my birthday. How cute. Look, the little pussycat. What she's crocheted. So I'm going to put him on my shelf, one of my shelves back here, so that we can see him. Oh, there, I can go up there. Yeah, so that was really sweet. And she wrapped it in this beautiful fabric, which I can now put into a quilt. Thanks, Rach. It's great when you make to know you well, isn't it? Yeah. So that's that. Oh my goodness. That's not bad though, hour and 20 minutes. So yeah, that's that. So I think I'm going to call it a day here for all those who are not interested in sewing. But even if you're not, then I've made some clothes. So I've got 4 outfits to talk about, or 3 items of clothing in one outfit, including this dress that I'm wearing. I've got some sewing that I'm going to be doing because we're going on holiday to Rhodes in September, so I need to get my little bum in gear because we're rapidly running out of time. So I want to make some I want to make some outfits to go on holiday with. Yes, so that's that. And also some quilting and stuff that I'll talk about in the next episode. So I'm going to call that a day here for the knitting portion. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to have this much content. Mind you, I had half an hour of waffling at the beginning, didn't we? So that's that. So I hope you will join me for the next episode, which I will call episode 30. Well, I don't even know what number this was. I can't remember. But this will be 33A, or is it 33? Check the show notes, woman. That's what you write them for. Yeah. So this will be episode 33A, and the next one will be episode 33B, which will be the sewing, quilting, embroidery portion of the podcast. So I do hope you join me. I'm going to clear some of this away and then get all the sewing stuff out that I want to get out. and I'll catch you again soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye. Hello, back again, but not the same as we were before. I've just finished work. It's been a bit peoply, is all I'll say. People were extra peoply today. Anyway, I just wanted to show the baby knits that I'd made before I gift them tomorrow. Couldn't show you before because they weren't gifted. So this is a baby vertebrae. So there's a newborn vertebrae, which is a free pattern, and this is the newborn called the baby vertebrae, which is bigger sizes. It is a paid for pattern. It's exactly the same design, so it's a large, like, open fronted cardigan, which is good. And the yarn I used, I'm just going to switch it. I put the big light on. I might switch it off a minute. I might show colour better. Oh no, I'm dropping everything on the floor. Yeah. Oh, sorry, avalanche, earthquake even. So this is the Quidditch colourway by Nora George Yarns. So it's a bit more minty. It's not as bright as it's showing on screen. So it's like a minty green with lots of speckles. So that's, like I said, a baby vertebrae, not the newborn vertebrae. And this was the 6-month size. Then the next thing was, they're called Hosen mats, or Hosen mats, I suppose. And they're these really cool trousers that's got like this gusset in them to obviously go over baby's nappy. So this is a free pattern, and they were such a lovely knit, actually. So you've got this like really long ribbed I want to say cuff, but that's not the right word, is it? Tell I've been at work all day, can't you? Waistband is the word I'm looking for. So you've got a ribbed waistband, and then, like I say, plenty of bum room. And the legs aren't as long as I would have liked, but I played yarn chicken and literally like had about that much left by the time I bound off. So I did block the legs out quite a bit. This yarn is Be Happy by Lay Family Yarn, so it's BBE as in the insect, and it's on the 80/20 high twist. It's such a lovely yarn to work with. I really like a 80/20. They're not as yellow as they're showing up on camera. The lighting's really weird in this room. Just as an aside, our house, before Nigel moved into it, before I met him, his granddad and Auntie Jean lived in this house, and this room was Auntie Jean's, and it's always cold in this room, and we're convinced that it's haunted by Auntie Jean. So there you go. And then the final thing that I knit is this. I haven't put any buttons on it yet. This is the seaside set by Petite Knit. So it comes with a trouser pattern as well, but I've just knit the jumper. And I'll put the buttons on tonight I haven't woven in any ends or anything. And this was knit in Rico Baby Merino. I'm sure it was Rico Baby Merino, yeah. In like a navy blue and white and navy blue. Looks like the colours run on there, but I think it's just where the stripes aren't lined up at the moment on the back coming through. I don't know. Anyway, again, really nice raglan with a opening flap to get baby's head through. And again, that was, oh, the trousers were they only come in newborn or 4 to 7 months. So that's what I did with the trousers. I did the bigger size. And this one I think I did 6 to 9 months in this sweater. And the final thing that I did make is I got this lovely quilt panel, which has got all these different squares. So it's all a panel. All this was a panel, and all I've done to quilt it is I've just literally gone down all the lines. So all this down here, and I've gone around every square to quilt it. So it's not like heavily quilted. It's just and I know Claire's made a quilt as well, but this one, you know, you could use for tummy time or something like that, rather than on its cot if it's. And then on the back is this matching fabric, or coordinating fabric, should I say. And then the binding is fragile. Is if you're a Harry Potter fan, is just a grey and white stripy fabric. Binding takes forever on a quilt. By the time you make the binding, so you've got to cut each strip and then sew it all together and then iron it and sew it all on, and then, oh yeah, binding took longer than the quilting. Oh, sorry, mother earthquake. So that's a lovely little quilt. And finally, when we went to Unravel, there was somebody selling hurdy, the sheep hurdy stuff, and I saw these little socks with a little sheep on them, and I was like, I need to get some of those for my little friend. So yeah, off to Flock tomorrow. I'm sure you'll have heard all about it at the beginning of this podcast. So off to Flock tomorrow, where all of this will be gifted. So exciting! I can't wait. Can't wait to be with my tribe. That's it. Can't say no more than that, really. So that was the baby knitting portion, which will be gifted by the time this goes up. Will be gifted.